Today we turn our attention to Syria, a nation long entangled in a brutal civil war that has reshaped its internal politics and altered the balance of regional power. Recent reports suggest that the country's new leaders are quietly negotiating with an old foreign patron, Russia, whose military presence once kept the previous ruler firmly in place. What does this mean for Syria, for Russia's strategic foothold in the Middle East, and for the region's evolving order? To understand these talks, we need to step back into the annals of Syria's turbulent recent history. When the Syrian uprising began in 2011, it gradually morphed into a multi-front civil war, pitting numerous factions against the regime of Bashar al-Assad. Over time, one player emerged as Assad's key backer, Russia. Under President Vladimir Putin's directive, Russian forces intervened in 2015, launching airstrikes against rebel-held territories. Their objective was clear: prevent the collapse of Assad's government and safeguard Russia's long-standing interests, including crucial military bases and the valuable deep-water port at Tartus. From that moment, Russia's military presence in Syria grew. Khmeimim airbase in the country's west became a strategic stronghold, while Russia's 49-year lease at Tartus secured a lasting naval foothold on the Mediterranean. This presence ensured Moscow's influence stretched far beyond Eastern Europe, projecting power into the Middle East and beyond. Now the landscape has changed dramatically. Assad's regime, once bolstered by Russian warplanes and political support, has collapsed. The force that rose to prominence, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, initially stood at odds with Moscow. After all, Russia's airstrikes had devastated rebel-held areas, leaving deep scars on the population. Yet, instead of forcing Russian troops out immediately, Syria's new leaders have begun talks with the Kremlin, seeking a pragmatic understanding rather than revenge. Sources indicate that HTS is considering allowing Russia to maintain its bases, including Khmeimim, and retain access to Tartus port. This suggests a recognition that abruptly expelling Russia could disrupt vital supply chains, jeopardize Syria's tenuous stability, and leave the new leadership internationally isolated. The memory of other isolated regimes, such as the Taliban in Afghanistan, seems to loom large, guiding HTS's careful approach. Russian-Syrian ties are not new. During the Cold War era, the Soviet Union established a presence in Tartus as a strategic refueling station, embedding itself in the region's geopolitical tapestry. This history underpins Russia's unwillingness to simply cut ties and withdraw. For decades, the Mediterranean port represented Moscow's southern maritime reach, a sphere of influence that continues to be a prized strategic asset. In a region crowded with foreign interests, Turkey, Iran, the United States, and others, HTS's stance reflects a desire to avoid becoming a pariah state. Collaborating with Russia offers a bridge to diplomatic recognition and economic ties. Moreover, with Ukraine offering wheat and other nations watching closely, Syria's new leaders are navigating a complex chessboard where each move can shape the country's future prosperity or continued turmoil. On a practical level, Russia's bases are currently operating under extraordinary conditions. Surrounded by opposition forces, some Russian outposts face shortages of food and water. HTS fighters, who once regarded Russian forces as foes, now provide security for convoys evacuating personnel and equipment. This uneasy cooperation underscores the complexity of the new Syrian order. Both sides must ensure that today's fragile truce does not unravel into renewed conflict. A Syria, no longer governed by Assad, is still in the early stages of political and social reconstruction. Economic hardship, infrastructural collapse, and the memory of intense conflict weigh heavily on the population. Russia's promise of humanitarian support, and potentially renewed diplomatic links, could offer some stability. But trust is scarce, and skepticism runs deep. Many Syrians have suffered under Russian bombs and now question whether this cautious partnership truly benefits the nation. As Syria charts a new course, it stands at a critical inflection point. The secret talks with Russia are a testament to Realpolitik, practical choices made amid difficult circumstances. Syrian leaders must balance foreign influences, their need for international recognition, and the demands of a war-weary population. Russia, for its part, seems keen on retaining a strategic footprint, ensuring that years of investment and military intervention are not cast aside. In the coming months, we will see if these negotiations pave a path towards stability or lead to new tensions. The world watches as a once tightly controlled regime gives way to a more fluid, uncertain political landscape. Will Syria's new leadership secure a lasting peace, economic prosperity, and a measure of sovereignty? Or will old alliances and enmities drag the country back into the shadows? If you found this analysis insightful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We'd value your thoughts. Leave a comment below on how you think these negotiations will shape Syria's future. Until next time, stay informed and keep exploring the stories that shape our world.